what the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Good evening, Dan Delmar and Robin Flynn in for Aaron Rand and James MENNIE, time of the Montreal Gazette. We'll get to McGill in a sec, James, but first, it's another one of those days, those infrastructure days.
I think McGill and every damn thing else may go on the back burner for today, given what's happening. As we just heard on the news, it's beginning to feel a little bit like 1987. First of all, I want to compliment both of you, and hello, Robin. You picked such a great day to come back to the office.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. I got to tell you guys, you've been doing a great job. It's kind of surreal, though, because you're both of you using your Stormwatch voices and engaging in Stormwatch protocols. The thing is, there's no storm. And as one of your callers pointed out in the past hour, I think it was John up at the control room at Transport Quebec, this happens every time it rains. It doesn't happen this bad, but to varying degrees. And this is what's crazy. I remember July 14th, 1987. I worked that evening on the night cop shift, and all hell was breaking loose. But on that day, it was raining sideways. On that day, there was hail coming down like artillery shells. Today, yes, there's been a lot of rain. It's been raining constantly all day. But what's amazing is until the 5 o'clock news, it didn't seem to be a huge pounding the hell out of Montreal storm, because if it was, we all know, we have been talking about how metro stations have been flooded, because that happens too every time it rains. Now, we're hearing about Jean Talon. Maybe we'll be hearing about more stations down the road. But the reality is this. When I hear a Transport Quebec spokesperson say, well, we upgraded our pumping system and we were expecting this, my immediate reaction is, man, did we get screwed? Because I'm looking at the video coming off of DeCarry. I'm looking at the video coming off of a lot of underpasses. We've got nothing going here. On DeCarry, I saw one. I don't know if you guys saw that, of one of the, I guess it's the manholes or whatever, had been blown off, and there was a geyser coming out, which suggested to me that the pumping stations weren't doing a whole hell of a lot of work. Or if they were, that's a new form of pumping that I think is rather counterintuitive. But all that said, there is a kind of, despite all the calls we're getting, and despite the way, God love our listeners, the way they call in, they work for everyone, they help everyone out. The fact is, this is perceived to be normal. It isn't normal. When the city gets turned into a poor man's Venice, every time we get more than 30 millimeters of rain, there's something fundamentally wrong with this picture. And the only thing I can hope, and as I say, you guys are off the air at 6. Let's just hope when we come back tomorrow, we're not talking about injuries or fatalities, God forbid, by this, because as you mentioned before, Robin, this does not seem to be heading in the right direction, especially when the cops are saying turn off your engines because you may be there for a while.
Yeah, it feels like every time we have any sort of weather, it's like grounds for a class action lawsuit in the coming months. Like, whether it's snow, rain, I don't know what it is, but they mentioned Transport Quebec that they upgraded those pumping systems. Yeah. Who did this upgrade? Who approved that contract? Because obviously they're not working.
Well, this is the thing. We all go back as well to the template. Remember when they had the big renovation of the Lacadie Circle? And the first time it rained, it flooded, and it was like nothing worked. And oh my goodness, how could this have happened? And it won't happen again. Listen, I know things do happen, but the fact is, you're talking about the public safety here, and it seems that I know the highways are provincial jurisdiction, and I know that some of the roads are they're municipal jurisdiction, but the problems predate Valerie Plante. I don't care when it began. Like I say, I covered this story 37 years ago. I don't really care whose fault it is. I just want someone to fix it. And if you can't fix it completely, do me a favor. Fix it 50%, okay? So the people who were stuck in traffic today for up to 4 hours, next time they'll just be stuck in traffic, I don't know, maybe just 2 hours. Can we try and do that? Because right now we're seeing where the usual political priorities, especially with this populist government, which I'm not going to say this is the CAC's fault. Liberals and PACs have been screwing us over in terms of infrastructure for decades. But the fact is, we're seeing in the here and now how much we utterly rely on the competence and the efficiency of the people who are supposed to keep our roads and infrastructure safe. That is not happening today. And I'm just hoping that we can turn around and say, well, it was very inconvenient, but that's the extent of it. But all that said, once again, and you're quite right, Robin, I think we will see some kind of a class action suit down the road. But this is normal, and it very simply should not be normal.
Are you ready for one little breaking news item? Completely unrelated, but hey, it's one of those days. This out of the NATO summit in Washington. There are reports that Canada is now committing to meeting their NATO target. An announcement is imminent, James.
Yeah, you know what? I'll believe that when I hear it. And don't forget, right now, the guy in charge of the government, Justin Trudeau, I think the only person who's not calling upon Justin Trudeau to resign is George Clooney. But the day is young. I mean, that might change, you know? But all that said, yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to take anything seriously out of this government when you can hear the doomsday clock ticking in the background, when you can see, frankly, and this is not just a partisan issue with the Poilievre conservatives, but the idea is the credibility for this government right now is zero. The idea that suddenly Canada is going to stop being a defense deadbeat, even though it is a tradition. And I'm not just going to lay this at Trudeau's feet, because Harper was just as bad, as were previous governments. We have been screwing over our military for decades. We have not been a good partner in NATO. So for Trudeau or his entourage to suddenly say, oh, no, we're going to announce how... Trust me, don't hold your breath. And even if they make the announcement, please, believe me when I tell you, don't think you can take that to the bank, because it simply is not going to happen.
I want to take one more minute, James, to talk about McGill. That's the other huge breaking news story from today. Before all the rain came, those tents were cleared out. What are your thoughts on that?
I think everybody sat on their hands for far too long, and I think the protesters did what they were supposed to do. They kept pushing the envelope. I mean, the fact that the camp was broken up today, you know, clearly Valerie Plante had said things last week suggesting that McGill didn't know what it was doing and hadn't handled it correctly. The big question is, why did they wait so long to pull off the Band-Aid? Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. I wonder now how likely it's going to be, and I know that the protesters are saying they're going to hold a protest tomorrow, which is great. I wonder how soon it will be, if ever, that we'll see another encampment pitched in Montreal.
I wonder, and on McGill, you know, from the very beginning, I was saying it's very hard for the city, police, and the courts to deal with this if McGill is welcoming them in and sitting down and negotiating, going back and forth. You can't welcome someone into your house, then call them an anti-Semite, and try to get the courts and the police to do your dirty work. It doesn't make any sense.
And then basically wait, 2, maybe more weeks before you went to court yourself on your own to try and get an injunction to move the camp. So yeah, a lot of blame to go around there. I think the bottom line is that it has been moved. The question now moving forward for McGill and indeed any other public institution is, have we set a standard? Have we set a line that certain that protesters are going to have to understand? Protest your brains out. That's fine. March, chant, do whatever, but don't bring your camping gear with you, because it's going to be removed very, very quickly.
Thanks, James. Talk tomorrow.
Matt.
And we did, by the way, reach out to McGill President Deep Saini on this. Kind of a breaking news day, so it's difficult to coordinate, and they're pretty busy too. But we did get a no, so that's a no from McGill today. We're going to give them the rest of the week before we jump to any conclusions, but we would say that the president of McGill is, of course, welcome to come on here to CJAD to talk to so many students and alum and members of that community that listen to CJAD or CTV News. Either one would be great, but I think it's time for McGill leadership to face this community and answer some tough questions.